But the fact they do have that policy in terms of their player selection makes it all the more remarkable that along with Barcelona and Real Madrid, Athletic Bilbao have never been relegated from the Primera Division.
It's something to be admired, I have to say. Well, there's three of them running. He's still going. Look at this, Kevin.
It's a brilliant run from Messi. Did he go all the way? It's one of the great Copa del Rey final goals.
The aim of the training program is to teach a novice learner the skills of dribbling and shooting in soccer. So here's the 6-week training program we're going to follow. Dribbling and shooting are classified as being an open, gross, and serial skills. It is classified as gross as a large amount of muscle mass is being used to perform it. It is also an open skill, as the player has to react to the ball being passed to him. Dribbling is a serial skill as it involves a series of discrete movements. However, shooting is a discrete skill, as there is an obvious beginning and end. According to Gentile's skill classification, dribbling and shooting are both 4D motor skills. They involve intertrial manipulation, object manipulation, and body transport. The training program will consist of 3 60-minute sessions per week. Weeks 1 and 2 will consist of mainly block practice, focusing on one skill per week. From weeks 3 onwards, training sessions will be serial and then random practice based. During weeks 1 and 2, feedback will be given concurrently to talk the novice through each step of the drill and providing positive reinforcement. After the second week, feedback will be given less frequently and terminally. Visual demonstrations will be given at the start of each drill, and verbal cues will be given prior and throughout the drill. Before the start of the program, a pretest will be done to measure the current skills of the novice. The test will contain a qualitative and quantitative analysis. Qualitative measures will be foot position, point of contact, body position, and follow-through. Quantitative measures will be the amount of points scored while shooting, and if any cones are knocked down in the dribbling drills. At the end of the training period, a post-test will be done to test the skill retention. The drills will include the same drills as the pre-test.
For pre and post testing, we're going to do a dribbling exercise. At the end of the last white cone, you dribble through using both feet. So if you come to me, you tell me left or right. Left, I'll take my touch out in between these two cones, and I'm going to have a strike on goal. And wherever it goes in between there, there are different allocated points. The middle's worth less, obviously, than the outside.
I am what I am, and I do what I do. Pull on blacks, ride Chevy with my crew. I said I am what I am, and I do what I do. 3 fingers, gonna set with my crew. I am what I am, and I do what I do. Stack mad bread, catch rent with my crew. Life lavish, fought to escape average. Still savage, pants sagging, hat backwards. Still bossing, flossing, designing fabrics. Still lost in translation out in
This dribbling drill for beginners was given to the individual in week 1 so they could get a feel of dribbling and what skills they need to adopt. The drill involves a form of block practice of dribbling where the individual has to dribble around the cones using both feet, maintaining close control around the cones at all times, and the aim is to turn sharply around the cones using both feet, inside and outside of the foot, whilst turning. Similar to the other novice dribbling drill, the player here had to keep dribbling in between the cones, which were about 10 meters apart. However, instead, at the end of each cone, he had to turn using a Cruyff turn, as shown in the video. This drill was given in week 2 and still was an example of block practice. However, instead of running up and down in a straight line between the cones, it consisted of the player weaving in between the cones using both feet, and this drill was more specific to the nature of the game as dribbling is really carried out in a straight line. Close control was emphasized in order for the player to use both left and right foot inside and outside of the foot to weave in between the cones and make sure that they don't hit the cones whilst dribbling. Shooting from a dead ball situation was used in week 1 in order to keep practicing the fundamental skills of shooting just learnt early on. From just outside the box, the player was asked to set up their own ball at any position comfortable and took shots at an empty goal, with no goalkeeper that is. Shooting for both power and accuracy was taught, and there was particular emphasis on the different foot positions at ball contact for each shot type. For example, for power, we wanted the individual to have their head over the ball, trying to make them not lean back as much, which helped keep the ball low and direct at the target, which was the goal. And a particular emphasis was also on the follow-through in order to generate more accuracy and power. This advanced 1v1 dribbling drill included a target to shoot at and was an example of serial practice that was adopted once the basics of dribbling and shooting were learnt. Making the skill more open in nature by adding an active defender in this drill caused a stress on the player's overall decision making. This made the drill more realistic as there was now an unpredictable variable that the players needed to consider whilst performing the skill. In this advanced shooting drill, the player was set up in a 2x2 meter grid on the edge of the 18-yard box, where the keeper had to play a ball into the player, and the player was required to take his first touch within the grid and have a shot on goal using either the power or accuracy method of shooting, which was learnt in prior weeks. Again, by adding a goalkeeper and restricting the player to a certain amount of space in which he could take his touch and have a shot on goal, put more stress on the individual, requiring them to demonstrate a higher level of that skill. In this drill, there was high emphasis on the first touch and body position as they set the ball up to shoot on goal. Quick thinking was needed, and it was very much more like a game scenario.
In weeks 5 and 6, basic match-like situations will be implemented so the participant can express their learnt dribbling and shooting skills in an uncontrolled or random environment.